professional development for the board. And we had a luncheon today, so we're on sort of fast forward. So on behalf of the board, I welcome all members of the audience to this afternoon's meeting. This meeting is a working session of the board to conduct the business of the district. The agenda for today's meeting has been previously agreed upon, and the agenda items to be discussed and or voted on have been studied by board members. I'd like to introduce the people on the dais here with me. To my far left is Recording Secretary Jan Ott, Superintendent Larry Francois, board members Sandy Hayes, Kimberly D'Angelo, and Amy Cast. And again, Don McCravey is expected to arrive shortly. I'm Janet Quinn, and I currently serve as president for the school board. Agendas for this meeting, as well as minutes for previous meetings, are available on the back table. If you're here to address the board on agenda items, please sign in on the clipboard that's on the table with the agendas, and you'll have an opportunity near the beginning of the meeting to speak to us. First order of business this evening is the superintendent's report.
Good afternoon. Welcome back from New Orleans. My sympathies to those of you who got caught up in the security breach at SeaTac last night after a long day of traveling. I want to begin tonight by congratulating the North Shore School District Health Sciences Careers Nursing Assistant Program students for their outstanding showing at the Health Occupation Student of America State Competition in Yakima. Our students took top 9 places in the nursing assistant competition, and our students also took first in the CPR, first aid, and personal care events. 8 students have qualified to attend the national competition in Orlando, Florida in June. And those 8 students represent all 3 of our comprehensive high schools and the Secondary Academy for Success, so a good representative showing across the board. I want to congratulate also the Canyon Park Junior High, Kenmore Junior High, North Shore Junior High, and Bothell High School Science Olympiad teams, who are all advancing to state level competition this weekend at Eastern Washington University. Only 20 teams are advancing per division out of 140 teams statewide, so to have that many from our school district is definitely an excellent showing. And the top scoring team will advance to the national tournament in Orlando May 16th and 17th. I want to congratulate Bothell High School student Jacob Strauss, who's being recognized as a Washington Scholar for the first legislative district, so congratulations to Jacob. And congratulations to Sunrise Elementary Principal Doug Hale, who will be assuming the position of Human Resources Director effective July 1. So we're excited to be having Doug join our team down here at the district office. I've continued my meetings with principals over the last couple of weeks, and I've had the opportunity to visit at Fernwood, Shelton View, Hollywood Hill, Frank Love, Kenmore Elementary, Bear Creek, North Shore Junior High, and Crystal Springs over the last couple of weeks. So it's been great to be out and about in schools. On March 26th, I attended the joint Greater Woodinville and Greater Bothell Chamber of Commerce Social hosted at Cascadia Community College in the North Creek Event Center. I actively participate in both chambers, including currently serving on the board as vice chair of the Woodinville Chamber, but it was good to see a joint activity between the 2 chambers, and they really do seem to be building connections and partnerships between their 2 organizations and cities, which is a positive development. March 27th, attended the Greater Bothell Chamber of Commerce monthly breakfast meeting. On April 1st, most of us, Directors Quinn, Hayes, D'Angelo Cass, and I attended the school improvement visit at Kokanee Elementary School. Really want to extend my appreciation for the thorough and informative and impressive presentation by Kokanee Principal Kathy Hackett. Her intimate knowledge of her student performance data was very remarkable and helpful. And just want to extend a kudos to Principal Hackett and the Kokanee staff for the great work they're doing to specifically target instructional interventions to those students who need them most. And you don't know about your classroom visits, but in mine, it was clear during each visit that there was powerful learning and teaching taking place at Kokanee, which was great. Earlier today, all of us attended the North Shore Schools Foundation Light a Fire for Learning luncheon at the Linwood Convention Center. I just continue to appreciate, respect, and value the efforts of all of those involved with the foundation. They have played such a key role in supporting some of our critical district initiatives in recent years, and it was just wonderful to see all the student projects and work and different things that they're working on that the foundation has had a hand in. It was just really, I thought, every year it seems like the event just gets better and better. The student talent was incredible, and I was honored to play a small part in the luncheon presentation. And next week, as I'm sure we're all well aware, is spring break, so I'm going to take this opportunity to wish everyone a safe and restful spring break. Well earned, as a matter of fact.
Welcome, Director McCready.
Oh, thank
Sorry, I
you.
missed your call.
It's kind of wet.
Thank you, Larry. Next on the agenda is association and public comments. The North Shore School District Board of Directors has set aside a period of up to 60 minutes to receive updates and comments from association leaders and citizens from the community. The board expects speakers to address matters related to district operations, policies, procedures, and agenda items under consideration by the board. Comments should not make reference to any employee or representative from the district by name. If interested, there is a complaint process available through the Office of the Superintendent. Please note that because of the public governance process, the board is unable to discuss items that are not on the agenda this evening, but may ask clarifying questions and can request that it be a future agenda item. A district employee or board member will respond at a later date if warranted to do so. When addressing the board, please state your name clearly for our records. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. There's a timer that will sound when your time has expired. We thank you for your participation in the governance process, and we are glad you're here this evening. Are there any association leaders wishing to address the board? I don't see any tonight. Okay, we'll move right to the citizen comment period then. And we will start with Marlon Hershey.
Thank you. I'm Marlon Hershey. I was here on the 11th of March, and I presented a document to the superintendent with copies to all the board members. When I looked at the minutes that were posted, it was completely erroneous and in error. It stated that I expressed concerns. I did not express concerns. I delivered a document. I expressed nothing except I delivered a document. That document was presented on behalf of 13 property owners who are your neighbors adjoining your property on the Maltby Road. We specifically created and signed that document, presented it to answer a very specific question the school district asked us individually and collectively numerous times, from the superintendent, from the director of capital projects, from the hired real estate consultant. We were all repeatedly asked the same question. So we put the answer to that question in writing and presented it formally. There were at least 7 property owners present. The minutes make it sound like it was one man, me, crying in the wilderness. It was not. It was 13 property owners formally, officially addressing your question. That is my request that the records be corrected as to what was said and done. Secondly, I have never received any response, which I was told I would get within a few days. I think professional courtesy alone would at least require some response to at least acknowledge that you got that document because of the purpose it served. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Next up is Annette Whelan.
Hi, my name is Annette Whelan. I'm a parent advocate for a late start. My daughter started high school last year, and because of the early start time, I've driven her to school the majority of the time.
Annette, can you move your microphone? I'm sorry, can you move your mic? I can't hear you. Thank you.
That better? That better?
There we go.
Okay, let's start again. Okay, my name is Annette Whelan. I'm a parent advocate for a later start. My daughter started high school last year, and because of the early start time, I have driven her to school the majority of the time. And I'm not the only parent doing this, judging by the line of cars I join each morning. Even with the 10-minute start that was implemented by the district, our bus pickup times did not change from the previous year. Therefore, it made no difference to the time she got up in the morning. The class schedule within high school is much more rigorous than it is in junior high. My daughter, like other students, are tired of getting up at the crack of dawn, catching some sleep when she gets home from school, and then trying to get herself motivated to do homework or study for quizzes or tests the next day. This is not the right school environment for a teenager to succeed in, and that's why I'm here. School districts throughout the country are realising the value of sleep changing to later start times. Some of these districts are not as well supported financially as the NSD, and yet they're still managed to do this for the health and educational benefits of their students. I have stood here many times, as have other parents and students, and we have talked to you passionately about the reasons why the district should move high school to a later start. And even with documentation that PALS and other professionals have produced over the last 7 years supporting later starts, the reason given by you for not moving start times has always been cost, transportation costs. Well, this year transportation funding has increased from the state, and it is set to be fully funded next year, which will then release nearly $4 million, levy dollars, which has been used to supplement transportation. PALS is therefore respectfully asking that some of those levy dollars be put back into transportation for the first year until state funding can be allocated, and provide a service that will help allow high school a later start time, with bus times that reflect this later start. I would just like to say that the NSD has a huge amount of support from the community, and sometimes we just need that support to come back to us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Annette. Deborah Shrubnik.
I'm Deborah Shrubnik, and I've addressed you before on the issue of high school start time. I'm also in the Parent Advocates for a Later Start. My daughter also started high school this year, and the negative effects of the early start time have become very, very apparent to us. She's been sick more days this year than over the 3 prior years combined. She's so exhausted by Friday that she can't function and is basically an emotional wreck, which isn't normal for her. And her weekends are pretty much trashed because she's sleeping half of the time to make up for it, which makes it hard to plan anything that she wants to do or that we would like to do. These effects are shown despite the fact that she also, like Annette's daughter, gets a ride to school, which gives her about a half-hour extra time in the morning. It's great that we start about 10 minutes later this year than we did last year, but it's not nearly enough. We really need to be starting high school at least at 8, and of course the research shows that closer to 9 is much better for that age group. And that was the way it was when I was in this district 30 years ago, so I know it can be done. Thanks.
I have a question. When you say research, so are you referring to a specific body of research?
Oh gosh, takes me back to when we were presenting on this issue.
I know you have.
I would have to go back and cite the literature again. We've done that many times
But
in
a
the
number of
past.
studies that you're referring to?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Mary Karskadon is probably the expert that's collected most of the research, but there's multiple authors, and then of course, districts all around us and all across the country are moving their start times later, or are resisting efforts to move them earlier, like the Seattle School District just did a few weeks ago.
Thank you.
I think some of those are referenced in some of the paperwork that we've gotten in the past, so I'll see if I can get a copy. Aileen Fisher?
Hi, my name is Aline Fisher, and I'm a parent of 2 children in the North Shore School District, and I'm also a founding member of the Parent Advocates for a Later Start. And I want to start my presentation this morning with an anecdote. This morning I told my 8th grader and my 10th grader they had to come and testify, which of course they're not here. But my 8th grader said, Mom, I don't want school to start later. I want it to start earlier because I can get out earlier and I have more time to hang out and play. I said, but hon, you're going to be so tired in the morning. I said, I don't care if I have to sleep through my first period class. I mean, can you come to the school board and say that? So that that has also been borne out by my high schooler who's in 10th grader, who's a 10th grader this year. He is a pre-IB student, excellent student, has maintained great grades, but also at a great cost. He's up at 5:30 in the morning, getting ready to go, catching the bus at 6:30. It's very, very difficult for them, and I know there's lots of reasons why we can't start school later. Kids have jobs after school, kids need to take care of their younger siblings, community groups want to use our facilities after school. But I would say to you, go back to the mission statement and take a look at why we create schedules. We create schedules to provide optimum learning environments. Everything else should be created and crafted to work with our schedule. We shouldn't have to work with everybody else's schedule. So look back at your mission statement, see if you can find the support for later start time, for better education, more well-rested kids. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vicki Rhodes?
Thank you. It's good to be back. My name is Vicki Rhodes, and I'm with the North Shore Citizens for Transparent Public Finances, School Finances, sorry. Thank you for your time this evening. We are working on a report to share with you, and we respectfully request the additional items needed to complete it. Our goals are to provide the public with information that is clear and easy to understand and useful, to continue the dialogue with the North Shore School District, and to develop options for an ongoing path forward. Again, please, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Vicki. Susan Lampe?
Good evening, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Susan Lampe, and I'm a parent of 4 children in the North Shore School District, and I'm here to address the decision of the North Shore School District to move all the kindergartner students in fall of 2014-15 to East Ridge Elementary. My daughter started as a kindergartner 9 years ago at Bear Creek, and there were only 2 EAP elementary advanced placement classes at the time. Since it has expanded to 6 classrooms. Last year, our principal told me there would be 11 students who were in half-day kindergarten moving to Cottage Lake because of overcrowding at Bear Creek because of the EAP program. At the last minute, they were moved to East Ridge because of capacity issues at Cottage Lake with the half-day program. About a week ago or so, I was informed that all the kindergarten students would be moved to Bear Creek, from Bear Creek to East Ridge next year, and without a reason why, except for there was overcrowding at Bear Creek because of the EAP program. I know that East Ridge Elementary this year had 3 open classrooms, so I would like to offer another solution, and that would be to move EAP students to East Ridge Elementary or another school that feeds into Timbercrest. The 5 schools that feed into Timbercrest are all a lot smaller than the schools at the north end. For example, Bear Creek is the highest because of the EAP program. There are 491, Cottage Lake 341, East Ridge 378, Hollywood Hill 358, and Sunrise 304. Our neighboring school district, like Washington School District, they have, their program is called Quest. They actually have 5 schools that house this program, range from 3 to 5 classrooms for each of those schools. So it doesn't impact one school in particular. I'd also like to propose to have a committee of Bear Creek parents, teachers, and administrators to talk about what's happening in the future, not just for the fall, but for future years, because it's happened for the last 2 years. And parents are extremely concerned about the future of kindergartners at Bear Creek. A lot of parents have moved there because there are large lots. There isn't a lot of overcrowding. There's plenty of room for the students who are going to go there for their home school and not have to be moved to another school. I would be happy to be on that committee too. So thank you so much for your time. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Hayden Pettigrew?
I'm Katie Pettigrew. I have two children, second grader at Bear Creek Elementary, and my son is about to go to kindergarten next year at Bear Creek also. And so I would also like to talk about this kindergarten situation. So we did get the call from Mr. Keeler, the principal, yesterday, I guess it was, that the full-day kindergartners will be at Bear Creek next year. So I, as a parent, am super relieved because that, I feel, is the best thing for my child. But I do think there is a larger issue here. I love that EAP is at our school. My understanding is that these numbers are growing, and so it does seem that something else has to happen. We had last year with the kindergartners having to go to Eastridge, and then this year where the full-day kids were going to get bumped out. And so where is this going in the future? And so, as Susan said, there's other schools that have room, so I don't see why, if it's getting too full at Bear Creek, that another school couldn't share the load of those EAP kids. Also, when a decision has to be made like this, I thought it was very unfair that it was the kindergartners that were going to have to go. Yes, I do have a kindergartner, but just in general, they're 5 and 6 years old, and the first year of school is so important, setting the tone for all that is to come, and their comfort level, and being excited, starting school and what that means for their whole future, and how disappointing to not get to go where you expect to go, where your parents are telling you you're going to go for your whole life up to that point, and wanting to share that experience with your neighborhood friends and with your siblings. And this would have been a big deal for my particular child, and I think that it's true for a lot of kids as well. And then there's also with the kindergartners being transported. I understand it's a really long bus ride, and again, they're 5. They're the most vulnerable of our population. And so I'm also wondering for next year, for the 2014-15 year, the half-day kids. I understand that last year they had to go because there wasn't a full class, and so 2 half classes made a class at Eastridge. But if we get enough numbers at Bear Creek, and I have no idea what the numbers are this year, but if we get those numbers, the half-day kids should get to stay at Bear Creek also. Kids should get to go to school at their home school in their community. That's a really important thing. And so I know there's this crowding issue, but I also think that something can be done, whether you add a 3rd school or draw different lines. Kids should really get to go to school in their community. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Susan Cobb.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
My name is Susan Cobb. I am a parent at Bear Creek Elementary. My daughter is in 3rd grade, so I do not have a kindergartner. However, I have served on the PTA board for the last 3 years. I feel a certain responsibility for the parents at Bear Creek. When we learned that the kindergartners were being moved to Eastridge for this 2014 school year, it came as a total surprise. It hadn't been, there was nothing that prepared the parents for this possibility. And so we felt that it was, at least from our perspective, not a well thought out decision. So I'm happy to hear that the full-day kindergartner has been moved back to Bear Creek for the 2014 school year, but it doesn't seem to address the long-term issue of the overcrowding at Bear Creek and the relative low population at other schools in our particular area. It seems to me that well, first of all, let me back up and say that I personally very much like having the EAP program at Bear Creek Elementary. It adds a lot of diversity, it adds wonderful teachers, it adds a very interesting component to our students' environment, and I appreciate having it there. So, you have to be careful what you ask for. I don't want to get rid of the EAP program at Bear Creek. However, I don't think that the decision to move the kindergartners out because more EAP children were supposed to be coming in seemed to me to be a reactive decision, kind of knee-jerk reaction. At least it was communicated that way. I feel that it would be a good move at this point to put together a committee to study this problem, and that would include administrators and staff and also parents that are part of the Bear Creek community. So I hope that the board will consider that as an option. I also wanted to mention, I wanted to read to you an email that I received from one of the kindergarten parents whose child did attend half-day kindergarten, a Bear Creek parent whose child did attend half-day kindergarten at Eastridge last year. She said, I chose to drive Maren to school each morning because I wasn't comfortable with the bus situation out to Eastridge. She would have had to be at her stop at 7:50, and class doesn't start until 9. I do have her ride the bus home, mostly for the experience. She's the last one off, and it is 1 hour. So this is a 5 to 6-year-old who is on the bus every afternoon for 1 full hour because of the busing situation. I also want to add that, oh, is that my time? Yeah, thank you.
It is. Thank you so much. If you have something in writing, please give it to Jan and she'll distribute it to all of us.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much. That does conclude the community comment section of the meeting. And again, we really appreciate you coming to the board and talking to us. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote.
I did it again.
And that does pass unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the second reading of policy 2336, required observances. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. That also passes unanimously. Next on the agenda are the information items, project acceptance for Woodinville High School in, oh, sorry. I need to rejoin the meeting. Did yours advance?
Yeah.
Sure. I did not advance. Okay. The Woodinville High School remediation project. Does anybody have any questions on that? All right, we'll move to the next item, which is a report for the utility easements for Kenmore Junior High. Any questions on that one?
Those were the blue lines and orange lines, right? That weren't? Because I had it printed, so I wasn't sure which was which.
Oh, so the bigger, let's see.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Sewer is orange, water is
Yeah.
Well, the colors weren't there.
Oh, yeah, in ours they weren't.
You can't
Exactly.
tell when it's printed.
So I wasn't sure which was which,
Right.
but it's okay. Thanks. I thought that was the blue one. What was my guess?
Would you like to see the next page now?
That's right.
All right, next item on the agenda is the district budget status report for February. Any questions on this one? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the next item. And in an effort to have conversation where we're actually looking at one another, the board is going to move off the dais and to the tables in front of you. If we have a back to you, please feel free to move into this front section so that you can see us if you like. If you're fine with our backs to us, then stay where you are. Give us a couple minutes for the transition.